Hello everyone, this is Kirya Does Things. I'm Kirya, and today we're going to talk about the F1 Fantasy game and the Australian Grand Prix. First of all, let's see how I did on the previous race, and as you can see, I scored 179 points, 40 less than Bahrain. I went for the team that I showed in the end of the previous episode, and unfortunately I managed to pick both the DNFs, both Stroll and Gasly, which really hampered my score. The rest of it is not bad. Okay, obviously Bottas is a -1, which is not good, but overall, considering the two DNFs, we didn't do badly. But let's see a little bit about each driver, how they did. First of all, we had Gasly, who obviously didn't even take a part in the race, which was a shame. He had a gearbox problem, which was unlucky. Then we had Sergio Perez with the turbo, or however it's called now, the 2-time score, who did well, but Leclerc did better because of his fastest lap, and I switched him for Leclerc for this race, and in the previous race I had Leclerc, and Perez did better. So I have 0 out of 2 in that sense of picking the best of the rest driver after Verstappen, but he still did pretty well. So it's not like it was a big mistake. If Charles didn't get the fastest lap at the end of the previous race, Perez would have been the best option, so it's still pretty good. Then we had Stroll, who crashed, his mistake, and he was like the biggest problem with my team, because he is not that cheap, and if he's going to crash, maybe I should consider changing him. The cat is going crazy here. Okay. After that we had Bottas, who didn't do well, but even if I picked his teammate Joe in his place, that Joe is considered to be a good F1 fantasy asset, because he doesn't really DNF that much, and he just exists, gains some positions, and finishes usually around P13, P12. He's not very good at qualifying, that's my point, so he usually is a good asset to have in F1 Fantasy. However, this time around he did terribly in F1 Fantasy terms as well. After that, I had Kevin Magnussen in my team, who had a really eventful race, but in F1 Fantasy terms he did fine. He got 7 points with some overtakes, because he overtook some people and he got overtaken by some people, and the first one is the important part, which gives you some good points. So he got 7, not bad. And then we have our two big weapons in the F1 Fantasy game, the Red Bull Racing and the Ferrari teams, that give us most of the points, and they did that as well this time around. So that was my performance from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. As you can see, my rank in the world is about 120,000. I was around 90,000 after the Bahrain Grand Prix, so we fell a little bit, but I think it's pretty understandable considering I managed to pick both the DNFs. So it's not that bad in the end. Top 700 in Greece right now. Now, let's see what could be the team that I go for Australia. So, the team right now is this: Gasly, Perez, Stroll, Bottas, Magnussen, and Red Bull and Ferrari. Some of the drivers got even more expensive, some of them got cheaper, as you can see. I think the meta obviously we talked about the meta in the previous episode, which was keep Red Bull and Ferrari and then have either Perez or Charles or even Sainz in as your good driver to give the turbo, and then have 4 other drivers, and we will keep doing that. And the hope is that I manage at some point to have Red Bull, Ferrari and Verstappen and 4 other drivers, which right now is not possible, but it could be possible at some point. Like the point is, let's say I give up on Stroll and go with Sargent, and then I can switch Perez for Verstappen. I can't right now. I have 27.4, Verstappen is 30.4. But if we can do that at some point, that would probably be the way to go, considering Verstappen is probably going to win every single race this season. For now, though, that we can't do that, we will keep Red Bull and Ferrari. And the question is, what can we change to make any meaningful upgrades, any improvements? The first question is again, go Perez or go Leclerc for the big turbo driver. And I'm thinking that I might go Leclerc again and switch it up, and I am scared that it's going to backfire again and that Perez is going to get the most of the points again. But Ferrari seemed pretty good on practice. I am recording after practice 2, and we even have the practice debrief here. And Ferrari seems to be, with the Red Bull, the favorites for pole. And then we have Aston Martin, McLaren, Mercedes, obviously, and the rest of them. And in race simulation pace, obviously Red Bull is ahead, Ferrari is a little bit behind, and McLaren, then Aston, then Mercedes, and so on. So Ferrari seems stronger than the previous 2 races. However, a lot of times we see that in the practice debrief, and Red Bull just doesn't care and they go and finish 1-2, and Perez has started the season well. So I'm not sure if I should go Perez or Leclerc. Other than that, the gearbox problem of Gasly didn't fill me up with confidence, and I might switch him after that. So maybe we can go someone else. I don't think the RBs are good because they tend to qualify better than race, so that's not good for F1 Fantasy. Esteban is too expensive anyway, and I think Esteban right now, he has 15 points, right? And Pierre has minus 14. I don't think this makes any sense to me to go for Ocon because he's doing better. He's not really doing better. Gasly was unlucky in the previous race, and the first one they were both terrible. So I do not think it makes sense to go for Ocon. If I keep Alpine, an Alpine driver, I can just keep Gasly. Albon is an interesting one. As I said before, he is picked by more than 50% of players. I'm not sure. He had a crash in practice. Williams only had 2 chassis, the 2 chassis that were running in practice, okay? And Albon crashed in practice. So that would logically mean that Sargent would continue racing and Albon wouldn't be able to race for the remainder of the weekend. However, Williams made the decision to give the working chassis on Albon, and Sargent is not going to take part. So I'm not sure that Albon right now is confident enough to do very well. So I'm not really feeling getting him. I'm talking instead of Gasly. Other than that, maybe we can go double Haas. Potentially. Hülkenberg though tends to be good at quali and not that much in the races, so that's not great either. Maybe switch Gasly out for Zhou. That's maybe an option. Other than that, I don't really think. The Stroll situation is an interesting one, as I said before, but I don't know if it's worth it to take him out on the basis that he's going to crash again. I don't know if the probability of him crashing again is that high in order to take him out. And the thing is, let's say I take Stroll out, who is going to be in his place? That makes any sense. I don't really think there is a good candidate for that one. And I don't think it's a good logic to play F1 Fantasy just reacting to the previous race. The fact that Gasly and Stroll DNF'd doesn't mean we should take them out, right? If it proves that it's a car that has a lot of reliability issues, or a driver that crashes a lot, then okay, I could say that it makes sense to take him out. But right now, I don't think that's the case. So I will probably keep them. And then the question is Perez or Leclerc, and then Gasly or somebody else. Maybe Zhou, maybe Hülkenberg. I don't really want to get Albon. I don't want to get the RBs, and I don't think it makes sense to get Esteban. So it's probably Gasly, Zhou or Hülkenberg, the first option, and then Perez or Leclerc, the other option, to change or not to change. The rest of it, I think, is fine. I don't think it makes any sense to switch anything else or to switch the logic. Red Bull and Ferrari will stay. It's the best way right now. And then that means that you can't have two good drivers. So it has to be one. And the only ones that make sense right now are either Perez or Leclerc. As you can see from the points anyway, they have scored 62 Perez and 59 Leclerc. The others from McLaren and from Mercedes are not even close to that. And we are expecting them to be further behind Ferrari anyway. So that's the debate. And I am thinking that I want to go for probably Leclerc instead of Perez, and I hope that it's not third time in a row that I make the least good option, because they are both good options, but it hasn't gone according to plan. And then instead of Gasly, I'm probably thinking of going Zhou or Hülkenberg, one of the two. Probably Zhou, because I think he's going to qualify. He's not going to go to Q2. So if he starts 17th, 18th, the only thing he has to do is like not to crash and just exist, and probably he's going to get some positions or some overtakes from the strategy and pit stops and so on. Hülkenberg is a little bit more risky, because at the end of think about it, you score more points only if you go to Q3, which is not very probable for them. And even if he goes to Q3, if he's 10th, he will get, I think, one more point, right? So it's not important points. And then that means that in the race you are only going to lose position. So why that doesn't make any sense to go for that. So I'm probably thinking of going like this: Leclerc, Turbo, Red Bull and Ferrari obviously, and then Zhou, Stroll, Bottas and Magnussen, to try to get as many points as possible through overtakes and such. I think this is my team. I have some hours left until I lock it in, but at least for this episode, for now, I think this is the end of it with the logic. Okay, we do have 2.5 million spare, but honestly, again, it doesn't really make any sense in F1 Fantasy like logic to use it. I think this is probably one of the best, or something similar to that, the best options that we have. So that's it for today. Let's see how we go in Australia, and the next episode of F1 Fantasy is going to be after Australia and before the next race, which I don't remember what the next race is. Is it China or Japan? I'm not sure. This is no, I didn't. Let's see. So the next race is Japan, 2 weeks from now. Okay, so I will have a lot of time to prepare the videos. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me how it's going for you, and we'll talk on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe obviously helps a lot, and see you on the next one. Bye.